agenda. Yeah. So the next person I'm inviting here is, uh, okay, uh, is he here already? Okay. So Siddhant Agarwal, I'm inviting him here. Thank you very much, Siddhant, for coming here to interact with our students.
Hey,
And
Anamika.
hey, to tell you, I haven't interacted much with him, but as much as I have seen him interact with my students so far, I can tell you he's a very popular face with the children. He interacts with the students at various different platforms with different schools. I guess you've been doing some work, and he's a very passionate person. He's a design thinker, and he loves helping the startups. He's currently working as a program coordinator with Google India, and I mean, yeah, he. When you listen to him, you will know why he's here. He will talk to you in your language, been there, done that, that way. So over to you, Siddharth. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Anamika. And I will quickly share my screen. One second. Are you folks able to see my screen? Okay, perfect. Awesome. So, hello everyone. My name is Siddhant, and I'll be talking about artificial intelligence in education. Just a quick disclaimer before we get started. So, the opinions expressed in this presentation and on the following slides are solely of those of mine. Doesn't associate with my employer. Um, the talk may contain copyrighted material, the use of which I have not been authorized by the copyright owner, and I am using this presentation just for the educational and not-for-profit purposes. I do not replace independent professional judgment and do not involve any commercials. With this, let's get started. A warm welcome to you all once again. My name is Siddhant, and I work as program coordinator with developer relations team at Google in India. What we do, we enable and empower the vibrant Indian developer ecosystem to build impactful solutions using Google technologies that can change the lives of the next billion users. So what we really do, we basically engage developers outside Google via these programs called GDG, Google Developer Groups. These are community-led groups of developers who are interested in Google's developer technology. These groups conduct in-person meetups, like I'm talking about pre-COVID times, with demos and talks, both small and large, and sometimes include activities like code sprints and hackathons. Developer student clubs, these are university-based community groups for students interested in Google's developer technology. Students from all undergrad or graduate programs with an interest in growing as a developer are welcome. By joining a DSC, students grow their knowledge in a peer-to-peer learning environment and build solutions for local businesses and their community. We also have a program called Google Developer Experts. It's primarily for working professionals who are experts. It's like a global network of highly experienced technology influencers who actively support developers, companies, and communities globally. And these are like independent volunteers. They do not work at Google or like work for Google in any capacity. We do have a program called Gfs Accelerator. It's Google's global acceleration program. It helps startups build and scale their great products and companies by connecting them with the best of Google, which is like its people, its network, its thought leadership, and the technology, of course. For women out there, we have this Women Tech Makers program that engages over 100,000 women in tech across like 190 countries each year. WTM provides visibility, community, and resources for women in technology across career levels to drive innovation and participation in the industry. Uh, with this, let's move forward. But before I begin, allow me to take a moment to talk about the current COVID-19 pandemic, which has caused extreme amount of panic and suffering to the entire world. The world is experiencing things that it has never before. Globally, cities and countries are being locked down to contain the spread of COVID-19 pandemic. We have seen this in India as well. But I would like to say, like, we are all in this together, and this too shall pass. So my advice is till then, just stay safe, stay healthy, and stay indoors. And let's move on to the talk. When we talk about artificial intelligence, machine learning, we always talk about those fancy robots out there. There are so many things that you have also seen, like the self-driving cars out there on the road. You would have seen like street view technology. It's there in your Google Maps as well. Now you can like find out what's like for the people who are blind. They can easily like just point a camera to the street. They get an audio output. Okay, which direction to go to, what's there in front of them. Even for those who can see, they can get to know, okay, which direction they need to go to, like all AI are enabled. So these are some of the areas. One second, sorry, my bad. So these are some of the applications of artificial intelligence that we see on an everyday basis. A classic example is okay Google. So while there is a hardware device which is Google Home, uh, that's available, but at the same time, sorry, I don't understand. Okay, that was my Google Home set. But at the same time, Google Assistant is also inbuilt in your phones. Now you can do tasks at the command of your voice. You can put in alarms, you can turn on temperatures, you can do things, lock doors, you can play music. Not many things you can do. Of course, Google Photos, if you have tried this application before, Google Photos has this face recognition feature. Like it basically like from all the photos in your phone, it recognizes the face of an individual and categorizes all photos. I've been using this feature heavily. It has helped me a lot. Like let's say I had to find out all of my photos. I just like tap on to that my picture, and it like brings out all the photos of mine. Similarly, of my father, of my mother, or my sister, like that. If you have also seen this Google Translate feature, like it's now inbuilt into other applications as well. There's Google Lens application where you just point a camera to a signboard or to a menu card. It translates in real time. Like you are in a like foreign land, you don't know that language, and you can easily like navigate through that that particular area. Uh, Even in Gmail, like if you are a heavy Gmail user, there's a smart reply feature in Gmail. It automatically completes your sentences. It has helped me at least a lot. Like more, like I used to write those sentences which needs to be completed automatically instead of typing on my own. Now Gmail gives me that feature and completes it for me. I've seen machine learning in almost like all of these Google technologies, not just Google technologies, like um, everywhere all around us, we see machine learning out there. There's fingerprint recognition, there's biometrics that you would have seen. ML has been improving, artificial intelligence has been improving our consumer experience a lot. It has unlocked like endless possibilities. These are like some of the examples that I talked earlier, which are like something that we do on like we see on a day-to-day basis. But something more complex, if I had to talk about, like in healthcare, we have discovered that looking at the scans of the human eye, machine learning can assess a person's risk of heart attack or stroke. Like this was not known before. We didn't knew like something could like this could be like developed. It could be bring to the mainstream of the healthcare industry. Just imagine if the screening can be done on a mobile device, how profound the effect is going to be. Suddenly, the whole world has access to easy, rapid, affordable, and non invasive screening of heart diseases, saving many lives. I'm talking about like rural India, where there is no internet connectivity or there are no expert doctors that can be made available for these screenings. But still, like saving those human lives matter to everyone. So yeah, that's one example. Um, if I go beyond, like for 20 years, Google search has provided people with information they need, and in times of crisis, access to timely, actionable information is often crucial. Now, to help improve awareness of impending floods, we've been seeing floods over the like every year we talk, like we get to know like, oh, flood happened in this particular part of the world, part of the country. Now we are using AI and significant computational power to create better forecasting models. Like we used to get these models earlier as well, forecasting earlier as well, but these are not that accurate. Where exactly will it flow through? Uh, when it will be flowing through? Now you can like you get to predict when and where the floods will occur, and incorporating that information into Google public alerts, like public to get that information. It used to exist with the government or with those officials, but now I'm talking about with the public, getting the first hand information to the public. So these images depict a flood simulation of a river in Hyderabad in India. The left side uses publicly available data, while the right side uses Google data and technology. Like you could see, like the models contain higher resolution, accuracy, and up-to-date information. You get to know, like, okay, which part of that particular city or the town, the flood, uh, the volume of water is high. So these are some of the applications, those complex applications of machine learning and artificial intelligence. Even in astronomy, like hunting for new planets in our universe is no easy task. Like these planets are very small. These are cold and dark objects compared to their host star. So recently, researchers and astrophysicists have analyzed large amount of data from the Kepler mission, and by using machine learning, now they were able to find out a new solar system in itself. They have recently discovered a new planet called Kepler 90I, making the first eight-planet solar system we know of, other than our own. So I've been talking a lot about the applications of AI that we see on a day-to-day basis. Those they are there in the industry, complex ones. But if I have to talk about like why is this the right time to be teaching AI in schools, or even like for you folks who are like students for learning AI in schools. So AI is like playing an increasingly prominent role in the society. You know that we have been talking about it. Intelligent assistants are there, self-driving cars are there, autonomous robots are there. Uh, so with this increase of a technology in our day-to-day lives, there comes a time like when we have to learn this technology as well. So the informed citizens need to understand these basics, like how the AI works, how the AI can solve the societal problems, make important public policy decisions around surrounding AI technologies. We like AI technologies, of course. Like when you talk about artificial intelligence, it might cause a job loss in some areas because it's automating few of those manual tasks. So those the tasks that have been redundant, that have been manually done so far. Um, those kind of jobs will decrease with AI coming into big picture. However, there will be a gain, like there will be an increase in the jobs in other areas, more specialized areas, and that's why it brings a point that if someone is hiring you, then at the same time they would be expecting that you should be knowing basics of AI or to some extent machine learning and deep learning. So there is a growing need for AI literate workers. When I say AI literate workers, it's basically the working professional class. Like earlier used to be a time when companies used to invest a lot in the upskilling of their employees, but even that happens now as well. But at the same time, they expect someone who is joining the company to know basics in advance. Even if you like from your schools, if you graduate to your colleges at that time as well, the university professors have that expectation that okay, you might have known about these basics in your K-12 in education, in your class 12th education. So, so students should like from the young age should consider this as the STEM careers. That's one advice. And there's a very interesting quote from this magazine. Uh, when computers decide, like in the near future, perhaps sooner than we think, actually everyone will need a basic understanding on the technologies that underpin machine learning and artificial intelligence. A basic understanding would be definitely required. If I have to talk about something very recently that happened, Atmanirbhar Bharat Ideathon. I'm sure you would have heard about it. Uh, Ideathon that was announced by Ministry of Human Resource and Development to encourage students, developers to come up with ideas that solve this COVID-19 situation. I'm talking very specifically about COVID-19 to make people self-reliant. How can someone think of those ideas? So this particular piece of this particular snippet was around news for a long time. And this guy's student, 17-year-old kid, who became like a COVID warrior, making lung AI app. He's just like you, a class 12 student, 17-year-old kid. He won that HRD Ministries Ideathon contest. What does his application able to do? Like, he created this lung AI application, of course, to detect COVID-19. But do you know what? Like, it can detect COVID-19 in less than 3 seconds. Amid this growing numbers of COVID-19 positive cases, more so when the healthcare professionals who are the front line um, of the battle against pandemic are getting affected with this contagious virus. Like, even our healthcare professionals are getting infected. This Delhi-based 17-year-old class 12 student has come up with a possible means to detect coronavirus, becoming the youngest contributor to fight against COVID-19. This you can be him. Like, you can also think of it. So let me just take quick 1 minute to talk about what does this application do. It's a web-based application. It's a combination of 6 machine learning models which detects COVID in 3 to 5 seconds. I have tested this out, and it really works in 3 to 5 seconds. The application was selected under like sustainable environment category. Apart from detecting COVID-19, the application is also capable of rooting out 16 other pulmonary diseases, including lung cancer. This kid was going beyond COVID-19. He said like, okay, COVID-19 is one thing, but if I have to talk about like post COVID-19, let's say things have gone like everything is fine. What next? Will my project survive? So he went beyond that process of detecting COVID-19, and just from the chest X-rays, he's able to detect other lung diseases like lung cancer even. What I'm trying to say over here is think of going beyond the application that you're thinking of making right now. It might be that you're designing for now, but think about the future as well. Like what all you can add. Think whether this thing will survive in future or not. So think from that perspective. You too can come up with similar kind of machine learning models you can still work on. These are some of the areas, these cloud technologies that you can use. Like on the extreme left is ML frameworks like TensorFlow, Cloud ML Engine, Spark ML, Cloud Data Proc. That gives a total control to design and develop your machine learning models. While on the extreme right are the machine learning APIs, which are like ready to go APIs. You just like to use the APIs, know how to fetch these APIs, and you can easily do the detections. Good for like good for production parts. Like instead of redesigning everything from scratch, you can use these APIs. See what all these APIs are capable of, and of course these APIs are getting advanced every now and then. And you can use the prediction directly in your application. So for example, like Cloud Speech API, it does your speech to text translation. So you just give in an audio input, it gives out your text output, and vice versa as well. So these kind of APIs are like ready to go API. However, like you think that, hey, this is not working for my data set. My data set is very unique. I need to like work from scratch, but I don't want like too much of efforts in terms of like programming, coding neural networks. I know basics. How can I still work on it? So the middle path is the AutoML, which really helps you. All you have to do is bring just your own data, and it does the rest. So for example, it can detect, let's say you have, so if I talk about clouds, there are, even in cloud there are like different types of clouds. uh, for a for a meteorologist, the types of cloud helps in predicting what type of weather it will be, whether it will be thunderstorm, whether it will be like light rains, or whether it will be sunny. So let's say you given those images of clouds to this AutoML um, feature. What it does is it kinds of like just go like finds out, okay, there are clouds in this image, okay, fine, what type of cloud it is, and gives you that prediction. So all you have to give is just data. Rest of the task is done, like the training that ML models is done in the backend for you already. So these are something that you can always get started. To know like how to get started, how to use them, I would suggest like just search for um, machine learning APIs like Cloud Vision API. Just search for them. Search for AutoML. There are a lot of good documentations already available on internet that you can use. So that's one part of it on the cloud side. Giving a power to you on your mobile devices, or something which can work remotely. They're like doing those inferences on a smaller device. These are like HTPUs, something tensor processing units as we call it. These are like smaller versions of your think of it like you have large data centers or large servers which can crunch good data amount of data. You just like compacted it to a smaller version and you can use it. Uh, for example, like applications of HTTP, if I have to say, like in your street lights for any kind of road accident detection on the on the junction, or like just randomly have placed these HTPUs. It can like do all your machine learning computations on that device itself. It's very tough to be connected to internet at every point of time on those junctions because of like internet lags, um, internet going out completely. So these things can help you. To get started, there are some very simple and very easy tutorials or these applications that you can try. Like there's this Google's Quick Draw that you can always go ahead and see and experiment on your own. It basically tells you like how a neural network learns whatever you draw. So you get to get a feel of it. You just draw something, it tells you, okay, draw a helicopter. You draw something, and just by your doodling it can recognize. So you get to know of like how a neural network recognizes your doodles. Similarly, there's this TensorFlow Playground. It's very simple to use. These are like just you have to just drag drops, you have to just move around things. You get to know like how a neural network really works. Again, I will not go in depth of these. These are there for other speakers to talk during the workshop. But yeah, you can always try out. The links are given. The link for Google's Quick Draw is quickdraw.google.com. For TensorFlow Playground, it's playground.tensorflow.org. And this is something which I really like. It's Cementress. I really like this one. I play it quite often as well. So it's research.google.com/Cementress. What it does is basically um, it's powered by machine learning, of course. It it prompts you a word, and you have to come up with a word associated with that particular word, something very similar. For example, it prompts you motorcycle. So whatever you can think of that can associate motorcycle, you have to just type quickly. You have to think fast and type fast. So let's say you associated motorcycle is tires. So you type tires and press enter. It goes. Uh, it keeps on happening. So it basically checks into the machine learning pool that, okay, is this word associated with this or not? If yes, then that word goes, and there's another word, and you have to do it at fast because there's a timer running. It keeps on adding, like the way it is in your Tetris. If you have played that game anytime before, it works in a very similar way. It keeps on building on top of each other. So that's on the way you can learn these technologies. You can experiment these machine learning AI features by various companies. But I always say, like with this great power comes great responsibility. Use this AI wisely. There's a concept of machine learning fairness or AI biasness, ethics of AI, as we say. So make sure that you're using artificial intelligence for good, uh, for the betterment of the society. And that's where I always say, like, develop solutions for social good. Develop solutions for sustainable development goals using AI. UN has laid out these 17 sustainable development goals, SDGs, that you can always work on. Think of like what you can develop, what solution you can come up for, like these 17 goals, using powered by machine learning and artificial intelligence. Building for social good and so building for humanity is what I would encourage you. Build for digital India. We're living in COVID times right now. Everything has gone virtual. Everything is getting digital. India is getting digital. Like, I think, although there have been a lot of challenges, but I have never seen this golden time for India when things are like completely online. Uh, so yes, build for this digital India. And of course, time to build using AI is now. You can connect with me on Twitter at the rate Sid Agarwal 04. And that's it from my side. I can take up any questions if we have time.
Yes, thank you very much, Sid. It is always a pleasure to listen to you. There is a question that is there. It says Doppler shift and other technologies are discovering planets and solar systems. So, how can AI be implemented there?
So, as I talked about the previous example as well, and as you said also, uh, it can discover planets and other solar systems. We have seen with Kepler 90I, a totally new solar system has been discovered, which is just like our own solar system. How it really works is like there are a lot of data, astronomical data that they capture, astrophysicists capture. Now to read the data, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of computation. But if you train a machine learning model in a way, it can like see the features, those parameters that are there in those images from those telescopic images. You're able to discover another kind of a solar system, and that's how it happens.
Great. I also want to, draw everybody's attention to the first disclaimer that Siddhant laid out. And why was it so important? I actually, wanted to talk about that also. So, when we are working, we work with ethics. And it was a very fine example of how ethics have to be put before anything we do. Thank you so much for doing that, Siddhant. I really, really appreciate your disclaimer. Thank you. Looking
Pleasure.
forward to yeah, so it talks volumes about how we are conducting ourselves in a day-to-day life. Thank you. Nice
Thank you.
knowing that. And I hope everybody understands this part also when they're now that you're growing up, you're going to work in a environment that is professional. So these are very small things, but they matter a lot.
Yep.
Right. Thank you, Siddhant. Looking forward for more interactions and more talks with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and all the best, everyone out there listening to me.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Um, so the next, I hope you enjoy this talk.